Riders, welcome back to Sam's Bikes, where you know we only talk e-bikes, and today is Levo Gen 3 versus Levo Gen 4. And we have Haman here, back in the channel. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
You have been lucky enough to be testing my personal Levo Gen 4 for the last month. And I thought it was really interesting because you are a bit of a serial Levo fan. So tell us about your bikes. You've had, what, Gen 2, Gen 3?
Yeah, I got my first Gen 2 in 2020.
Yep.
So really happy with that. Later on, I changed into the Gen 3. Really happy with that. Afterwards, I got this Sworks one, and yeah, really happy. And then I tested this one, and yeah, I could feel there is an improvement on the design. Yeah,
we're going to get into that. And obviously, yours is a heavily spec Gen 3. So let's just go through quickly the Gen 3 to the Gen 4 and how the differences are. So the Gen 3 is rolling on mullets. We've got 160, 150 of travel. We've got the 6-way geometry. We've got the Specialized 2.2 motor with 90 newtons of torque and 565 watts of peak power and a 700 watt-hour battery. Prices ranged when it came out between 5,500 euros and 13,500 for the S-Works you see here. And that was released in 2021. And then the Gen 4, which was released a few months ago, is also rolling on mullets, also 160, 150 of travel, also has a 6-way geometry change. We've got the new motor, the S-Works motor in the S-Works here, which has 111 newtons of torque and 720 watts of peak power. And in all the other Levos, we're going to have a new motor as well, the Specialized 3.1 motor, which has 101 newtons of torque and 666 watts of peak power. We're also got a new battery, the 840 watt-hour battery. You can also get a 280 watt-hour range extender. And in the summer, in the next couple of months, there'll be a 600 watt-hour battery available. And the price of the Gen 4 is starting at 5,999 euros, all the way up to the S-Works that we see here at 14,500. So the idea of this video is we've got talking points here, and I want Haman and I to go back and forth, just like analyzing the bike, how we would or how we do out in the trails or when we're at the pub after having a beer. Okay. So the first talking point is appearance and integration. So what do you think, how do you think the Levo Gen 4 compares?
Well, actually, obviously the bike is more beautiful. Honestly, before the release, I expected to have a revolutionary design, but actually they have followed the same trend of design. So yeah, it's a beautiful bike. Maybe it's not the most beautiful one of the market, but yeah.
Okay. And what do you think about the integration of the e-bike actual system?
Yeah, I think it's much better. I mean, the new display, motor is so compact. Yeah.
And the remote, you like the new remote?
Yeah, actually, it works better. I mean, it's more useful than the old one, maybe because the 5 buttons. Yeah, but I can find all the setups really easily.
And did you expect it to be wireless, the remote, like all the other brands are going wireless?
Not really. I can feel the difference. A part of the cable, I mean, apart of that, there is no difference if you compare with a remote. A wireless remote. I mean, for me, this is not the biggest point to be taken into account when I buy the bike. Sorry.
Okay, so my turn to chime in. Appearance integration. I think it's a good looking bike. Probably not the best looking e-bike on the market. You know, it has got that fatter down tube. But I think Specialized has gone for ride dynamics, ride quality, and versatility of battery placement over the overall appearance, which I think is the correct way to go after riding this bike. I'd say it is better looking than the Gen 3, but I was probably expecting, like you, a bit more on the appearance. And integration, second to none. I love the integration. I don't care if it's a wireless remote or not. This is the best remote in its class.
Yes.
I love dynamic micro tune. We'll get to that. Display, best display on the market as well, super minimalistic. And the integration of the motor, amazing as well. It's about 20% smaller than the Gen 3. And we also now have the SWAT. For me, it's something that I wouldn't use that much because I'm always changing bikes. But what about you?
Yeah, for me, these small improvements makes the life easier to the riders. I mean,
because you have
exactly. I put all this stuff inside, so for me, this is a small improvement. I mean, for the brand, costs nothing to do it, but for a rider, makes a very added value. Also, I will highlight the battery, the removable battery. For me, in my case, where I keep the bike during the night. I don't have a plug to switch it off, so I would take the battery, charge it in my home. So for me, makes the life much easier.
And you can take this battery out in 15 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's super easy and zero rattle or any movement from that battery placement. And before we crack on with the next talking point, a massive shout out to Topeak, the long-term sponsor at Sans Bikes. Without Topeak, Sans Bikes is not possible, full stop. And check out my two new favorite tools for out in the trails. We have the brand new eBoost digital shock pump, maximum 120 PSI or 6 bars. We've got a 600 amp hour battery. This thing is absolutely awesome for out in the trails. And the Nano Shock Pump, a shock pump for out in the trails, which weighs 56 grams. Riders, these tools are absolutely awesome for out in the trails. And again, a massive shout out to Topeak being the long-term sponsor at Sans Bikes. So now to the most important part, how does the Gen 4 ride compared to the Gen 3? And I just want to brush over the geometry changes. The main change on the Gen 4 to the Gen 3 is the chainstay. We can now go in a 4-3-5, which is a pretty short chainstay, or you can run it in a long setting, a 4-4-4. And the Levo Gen 3, you can only run it in the 4-4-2 setting. So your month on the Gen 4, how does it compare to the Gen 3? What are the major differences?
Well, as in the first ride, I felt really comfortable in this one. I felt it really comfortable, really confident, playful. In comparison with this one is more like linear. You know, in this one, you don't know where is the limit. In this one, you can get the limit really easily. Obviously, this is my bike since 2 years, so I know how it works. But really surprised with the riding of this one. Really comfortable.
What I notice is we ride all the time. Every Saturday we're out riding together, and it's fair to say I'm a little bit faster than you.
Yeah.
You picked up, you were riding this bike so much faster.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would say you were like, I don't know, like 5 or 10% faster on the first day,
Yeah.
which, you know, surprised me. I think we can't take anything away from the Gen 3. It's still a fantastic bike. Like, I think it's still one of the best e-bikes on the market. The Gen 4, for me, the major difference is how it rides is that lighter chainstay, the 435 chainstay, and the battery placement. It kind of feels like you're anchored to the ground right on the bottom bracket, but where the battery stops about here and the shortest chainstay, it makes your hands light, it steers light, and it makes it playful, but also planted in the right area. I think it, as you said, it just takes it to the next step. Like it evolves an already good bike.
And also I have the feeling that the faster you ride this bike, the better it reacts. I mean,
Oh, I want it to be ridden hard.
Yeah, exactly. So you well, even you are riding faster than your average level. I mean, this bike gives you confidence.
Yeah.
You know, so for me, this bike needs to be ridden fast.
Yeah.
So the faster you ride, the better it becomes.
But also, you were saying you're a BMW driver. It's like if you drive a good car at 2 or 180 k's an hour, and you drive a shit car, my camper van at 150, feels like the doors are going to fall off, and in your car it doesn't feel like you're even moving. So it feels like you're riding faster, but it doesn't feel like you're riding faster. You feel safer.
Exactly. And also it's what I told you the first time I rode it. It's like a F1 car. You know, if you drive an F1 car slow, the car doesn't work.
Yeah.
But if you ride it fast, it performs much better. So same example with this one.
Yep, perfect. Now, would you be taking it to a bike park?
For sure. For sure. I think this bike is perfect for a bike park. I mean, no, maybe it's not the best in all the aspects.
Yeah.
But it's the second in everything. So at the end of the day, the addition of all the aspects makes you a great bike.
Yeah. For me, like when we were filming the Levo Gen 4 video like 2 months ago, I'd been riding this bike for like 1 day and then I went straight to the bike park to film all the B-roll. I was really impressed how this bike handled the bike park. It's definitely more bruiser, more enduro than the Gen 3, definitely. And I put that down to the Genie that we'll get to. The Genie definitely makes it feel like you have more travel at the back. The Gen 4 can take up to a 180 fork. I probably wouldn't go 180. I might go 170. I might do that in the future. And also, you can ride the Gen 4 without the battery, or you can ride it with the range extender, which is I think 1.5 kilos. You don't get the full power, but if you're just shuttling or just going between the trails, it's enough power, and it's a lightish bike. Now, going on to suspension, how'd you find it?
Really surprised, honestly. The Genie shock behaves like a cold shock, honestly. Really surprised, really stable, make the bike so planned. I have to say that the burnout, if you compare it with this coil shock,
Hang on, that's a 1,400 euro EXT coil.
yeah.
But
yeah, the bottom out for this one works better. Actually, this shock was designed for that purpose.
Yeah.
But yeah, really surprised with this one. I felt really comfortable, really confident. It behaves like a coil. I'm really surprised with that.
But you know that you can independently tune the bottom out and the mid stroke with 2 different sets of tokens.
When I have mine, I will
You'll
play.
do some playing. Yeah,
exactly.
And if you do get the Gen 4, are you going to be putting a coil on it? Will you keep the EXT and put it on it? Will you keep the Genie?
Probably I will go for the Genie first, because I think the Genie is designed for this bike, or at least there is I don't know, a kind of design together, or a kind of complementation between both designs. Probably if I put this one in this bike, the bike wouldn't perform good, and also the shock wouldn't perform good also. So I keep it.
Perfect. Like I agree completely. I mean, I've been testing the Genie now for over a year. I absolutely love the Genie. I think of the Genie as almost like suspension kinematics over a shock. Like it works so well together. I definitely wouldn't be changing it. And I'm a big coil fan, just like you. It does ride, I'm not going to say as good as a coil, but it's so versatile that you can set it up to the bike park or trail riding or enduro riding. It is quite genius.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, on to the motor and climbing. How'd you find it?
Really much good. This one, at the end, the Gen 3 is the same motor of the Gen 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so I knew it. I know how it works. When I rode this one, I felt it more powerful, but at the same time, I felt it more reliable in terms of I knew what the motor was gonna do. Okay, and also, I felt it more powerful. I felt it no drag, no rattle. This one is obviously worse than this one. So this one, I don't have much experience with the new one, Abinox and so on, but this one, for me, nowadays is the best one. I mean, as a whole system.
Yeah.
You know?
And so you tested it in the 4.35 chain state. Did you find on the steep climbing, it pulled up a little bit?
Honestly, with this one, when I ride in a steep climb, I can do a wheelie, or I can spin the bike.
Yeah.
This one, I don't know what's behind, what is inside, but there is like a kind of traction control.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, it doesn't give you all the power immediately, so it's like very progressive.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's like if the bike knew the trail.
Yeah, it's completely. So my experience is the Gen 3, fantastic system. And yeah, it was the same system or very similar system to the Gen 2. Now this is a massive upgrade. It feels like you have one more assistant mode. So you got Turbo, Turbo Plus, and not only the power, as you said, it's the way it delivers the power.
Exactly.
Traction control. I have no problem with the front lifting up. I mean, we do some really steep, nasty climbs. The way it holds traction, yeah, you bend your elbows, put your head over the bars a little bit, and it's completely fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And this one, for example, it unleashes the power immediately. This one is more progressive.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And also, I think the whole ecosystem, so the remote, the display, the battery, like how modular the battery system is, and it is a fantastic overall system. And dynamic microtune.
Yeah.
Love it.
Me too. I'm gonna be honest. The first time I rode it, I said, okay, let's ride in trail mode, because it's the mode I knew. But once I tried, I was really surprised. So I'm gonna to describe my feelings. So this system is designed like the more power you need. obviously the more power you put on the cranks, and the motor reacts like giving you the exact power you are requesting to the bike.
Yeah.
So once I try it, I leave it for all the weeks I
Yeah, yeah.
ride the bikes.
For me, I run dynamic microtune 99% of the time with a heart rate monitor, and I just I regulate my heart by, if I'm in microtune dynamic, 30%, 40%, 50%, 60%, and keep my heart rate around 130 to 150 around there. So I'm getting a workout, but I'm not working out too much or not too little, which is, on e-bikes, it's easy to get lazy.
Yeah.
And something that you mentioned is you saying the walk mode is better.
It's much better. I mean, this one has a kind of lag. I mean, you push the button, and I don't know if it's a matter of the magnet or something, but this one is reacts really slow. This one, finally, guys of Specialized, you made a great job. So it works very good. So you push the button, and the bike starts to roll. So that's perfect.
You know what I find? I find the position of the walk
A part
better,
of that.
way
Yeah,
better.
yeah.
Because normally you have to push up with your thumb to get, and now you just push it, and it's more, just more comfortable.
Yeah, yeah, it's more friendly, yeah.
Yeah. Now let's go on to weight. So my Gen 4 comes in at, as you see it, 23.8 kilos. Were you expecting a lighter bike? What do you think about the weight?
Well, obviously on the scale, this one is lighter. I don't know if it's 1.5 kilos, 2 kilos, I don't know. This
But
one,
not in this configuration.
probably, yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. And but this one, once you are on the bike, you don't have the feeling that it's a heavy bike. Even in the corners or in the braking, you don't have this kind of inerties. So at the end of the day, you realize that this is a light bike. So same feeling I got when I rode the Gen 3 by first time. I felt really light in comparison with the Gen 2.
Yeah.
So I got the same feeling. This one, once you ride it, you don't have the feeling that it's a heavy bike.
No.
So it's very like playful. I mean, it's like a soft bike.
Yeah.
You know.
For me, when I saw it come in at 23.8, I thought it was a little bit on the heavy side. You know, like I was expecting probably to come in at 22. But remember, we do have an 840 watt hour removable battery. I definitely think Specialized should release a 600 watt hour battery version for the Weight Watchers out there. You know, because people really are, a lot of people are buying bikes on weight or thinking they want the lightest bike. But you know, we changed the tires out to gravity, Schwalbe gravity tires. But Specialized did also stock this bike ready to rock, out of the box, out of the bike shop. You know, you don't have to change those tires. A lot of the bike companies coming in at 21 kilos, they're not ready to rock.
Yeah, exactly.
They're ready to buy new tires. Also, like, I just want your opinion on, you know, the market now is kind of getting split a little bit. We see Santa Cruz Valor, Transition coming out with these internal 600 watt hour batteries and expecting people to run a range extender as well for bigger rides. What's your standpoint on possibly a better looking bike with a 600 watt hour internal battery or a bigger down tube and an 800 or 840?
I definitely go for a big battery. Even if you lose something in the aesthetics, I mean, I ride e-bikes, and e-bikes need battery, and for me, a bigger battery gives you more confidence. I mean, just start your day at 9 o'clock in the morning, but you don't know what's going to happen during the day. So at the end of the day, you need battery, and I think an average rider, my opinion, probably is the most of the riders. So if you sacrifice weight or aesthetics in favor of battery, I do prefer. What I don't want is a beautiful battery with no, beautiful bike with no battery or no power.
Yeah.
So first is the performance, and later on the aesthetics.
Yeah, I agree. You know, like for me, I would say my weekly rides, my daily rides are here, and a 600 watt hour battery is fine. But the Saturday rides that we do, no way.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
no way. If I had a 600, I would definitely be taking a range extender, and I don't like a range extender because I like to run a water bottle.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly.
I mean,
Me
for
too.
me, I prefer the bikes to be less aesthetically pleasing and bigger down tubes.
Yeah, exactly.
Now let's talk price. And you know, Specialized always gets a bit of crap about really expensive bikes. You know, the S-Works when it came out, 13,500. Now we've got the Gen 4, 14,500. The starting price, I think the Gen 3 aluminium was 5,500, and now the new Gen 4 is 5,999.
Mm.
So similar-ish pricing to see, you know, how the economy's risen, inflation, all that stuff. How do you think the pricing is Specialized? Do you think it's acceptable pricing, expensive? What do you think?
Okay, my honest opinion, you get a basic Gen 4 for that price. Probably you get much more from the bike that if you spend the same money in other bike. So probably if you go an S-Works configuration is a lot of money. Obviously you get more for that price, but for me it's a really smart purchase if you go for, if you want to spend like that money, six grand, 7 grand, you get more for the Gen 4 than if you go to other brand.
Okay. So this is how I see it. Specialized is a top tier bike company making fantastic e-bikes and normal bikes. And you know, like you have your Genie Shock here, a lot of R&D's gone into. You've got your own display, remote, batteries, motor, app, all the ecosystem combined. There's a lot of money that's gone into this. But then also if you go to look at like Yeti or Trek, they're really expensive bikes as well. Very, they're top tier, amazing bikes as well. But that's what you're paying in 2025 for high-end e-bikes. And you know, a lot of people say, oh yeah, but you can buy a Yamaha R1 for, it's true. You can buy a motorbike for similar money, but you can't ride a motorbike in the mountains. Like,
Exactly.
and also it's a smaller market. So they're selling less of these. And anyway, I think, yes, they're not cheap bikes, but also I don't think they're crazy expensive for what you get.
I mean, my opinion is bikes have been always expensive.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
And now we are in the same time. Now,
More expensive in the 90s.
yeah, actually,
Way more
yeah,
expensive
yeah.
in the 90s.
The effort, the monthly effort you have to make to buy a bike was much more high than was higher than now. So today you can afford it. You, as you say, inflation and so on. The economy runs better now.
Yeah.
So for an average person to buy a high-end, high-performance bike means less effort than before.
Yeah.
You know?
My custom BMX in the 90s, my race BMX was $3,500 US.
Yeah, that was a lot.
That's a lot of money. I mean, it was the best bike you could buy. Didn't have a motor.
Yeah, yeah.
Didn't have suspension.
Ah.
So, I mean, I'm not saying they're cheap. They're not cheap. It's an expensive hobby for sure. Now,
But do you know which what is a good indicator? So in the past, 20 years ago, you didn't see so often a Specialized, a Trek, a really good bike on the streets. Now you see plenty of Levos, at least here in Madrid.
yeah,
Yeah, ridden by every kind of person.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, old people, young people, whatever. But now it's more expanded on the market.
yeah.
You know, so in my opinion, you are getting a better bike with less effort, monthly effort in terms of money.
Come on. The $1 million question. Are you going to be upgrading your Gen 3 to a Gen 4?
I think I will. Yeah, I think what you get is much better than what I have now.
Yeah.
So maybe Sam, you can get me a discount for this bike, and I would go straight to the bike store and I will buy one today.
Okay.
But
Let's see what I can do. What I can do. And where do you think you're gonna? Would you be going for an S-Works again, or will you be going for like a lower model? Where do you think you'd go?
Probably I will go for the S-Works. So the S-Works motor, I really like it.
Okay.
And also obviously all the configuration
Yeah.
of the bike. But yeah. I mean, this is a very complete bike. I mean, there is no weak point on any aspect of the bike. So for me, now is the bike of the moment.
Okay. It's great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Now, my turn. Would I be upgrading? I don't need to really upgrade because I've got one, but this is how I see it. Again, you can't take anything away from the Gen 3. They pretty much like shot themselves in the foot making this bike because it was pretty much perfect.
Yeah.
But then they've improved it again. You know, like if I was you or I had this bike, I would possibly be going for the entry-level carbon. So we're talking the comp at 7,900. And I would be doing open heart surgery and I'd be changing all the parts over. And, you know, I would definitely be keeping the Genie and swap all those parts over, definitely put a ride wrap on it, and then sell the S-Works, sell your frame, and possibly not lose too much money. And there's something that I was doing for years, riders, before I started the channel, in my BMX days. I would be buying the best parts. I'd have my wheels, I'd have my brakes, I'd have my forks, maybe not my rear suspension because it always goes in sizing and
Specific for
it's
frame.
more, yeah, it's more specific for the frames. But I would be buying those bikes, the cheapest carbon frame I can get, and then putting all my parts on it, putting a wrap on it, and then every year or two, swapping frames, taking all the parts, putting the original parts back on, selling the bike. And for me, that was a really cost-efficient way of doing it. So I'd probably be doing that. And I don't think, I haven't tested the Specialized 3.1 motor over the S-Works, but I don't think it is that much more power that I'd be wanting to get the S-Works motor.
Actually, the frame, if you want to buy standalone, you get the X-Work more. So yeah. So for me, yeah, that's a very good option, and also because this motor and batteries don't get old easily. I mean, after 1,000 kilometers, the battery health is 100%.
Yeah.
The motor is perfect, runs like the first day. I also like to treat well the components.
Yeah.
And this bike is really well treated. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't lose value. If you want to do your plan to install a new frame and keeping the components and sell this old frame, I mean, they are don't losing money.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like it's a no-brainer. That's how I do it. I love my Magura brakes, my custom wheels, my Shorby tires. Like, I love my rental cockpit. I love customizing every bike I have. It makes it feel like my bike. But riders, the S-Works is ready to shred out of the box. You don't need to change anything. Now, come on. Thank you so much for your time, brother.
You're welcome, my pleasure.
I will try and get you a discount.
Let's
see what we can do. And riders, if you have any questions for us, and if you are thinking of upgrading, you've got a couple of comments or questions, whatever, put them in the comments below. We love to help. And riders, you stay safe out there, and we're going to see you soon.